In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Dear audience, this is Language and Linguistics Online. I am Dr. Khurram Shihab from National University of Modern Languages, Islamabad. Today I intend to talk about linguistic determinism and linguistic relativity. These concepts are quite confusing for our learners. Therefore, it is high time that in sociolinguistics we should talk about them. Usually the names which are associated with these concepts are Sapir and Wolf. They are teacher and students. The relationship between language and thought has been a fundamental question in linguistics and philosophy. Remember, I have already talked about in a separate video the differences between language, thought, and culture. No doubt we have got repertoire of knowledge in our mind. And I have talked about how mind works in different videos. We have read that there are schemas, there are ways that our mind works. Neurons, they are there. They help us to understand as well as produce the language. So if, God forbid, we do not have this tabula rasa or LAD, language acquisition device, we cannot speak the language. So we have seen people who are not like us, they are not able like us, so they may not speak the language with us because they lack language acquisition device. Same is the case if we leave someone in a jungle, he has got LAD, but he or she will not be able to learn the language because he or she does not have anyone to communicate with. Rather, he or she is going to listen to some of the sounds of the animals. So he or she is going to learn these sounds. So it means that mind as well as society, both of them are very important and they influence the language. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, also known as linguistic relativity, posits that the structure and vocabulary of a language influence and to some extent shape the cognitive processes of its speakers. So it has got two different versions. Number one is strong version, linguistic determinism. In linguistic determinism, we talk about that language not only determines but also restricts the thought. And this is the strong version of this theory. Language determines thought and constrains, restricts that people can think about, what the people can think about. So it means that if something is not there in the language, people may not be able to think about it. And this perspective, people do not believe in. People believe in language relativity because research supports it. Speakers of different languages experience the world differently due to linguistic differences. Strong version. This version is often criticized for being too rigid and overstating the influence of language on thought because it is saying that language is determining the thought. The weaker version is linguistic relativity. It means that language influences the thought and perception but does not completely determine it. Different linguistic structures and vocabulary lead to variations in cognitive processes and worldview. This version is widely accepted and supported by empirical studies. So no doubt language influences the thought. Society also influences the thought. Society also influences the language. But language just does not determine each and everything. There are various examples that Sapir and Wolf hypothesis talk about. For example, Russian language. They have got various words for the color blue. In English language, we have got only one word, that is blue. And sometimes we add adjectives, and in this way we distinguish between dark blue or light blue or sky blue. And since they have colonized our country, so in Urdu language also we have got literal translations of such type of colors. So we have got Gehra Neela, Halka Neela, or Asmani Neela. On the other hand, in Russian language, they have got various words for this color. In New Guinea, Dani people, they also talk about two types of colors, dark and cool, or light and warm. But even then, these people, they are able to understand and perceive the other colors of the world as well. So Dani can perceive and categorize colors similarly to speakers of languages with more extensive color vocabularies, indicating that linguistic determinism is limited. We should also talk about spatial directions, orientation. In Australia, speakers use cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, rather than egocentric terms, right and left. For example, they might say the cup is northwest of the plate. This linguistic feature influences their spatial cognition. Spatial, related to area, related to place, making them exceptionally skilled at orientation. Another example is coming from numerical orientation. In Amazon, the Fira language lacks exact numerical terms, using only approximate terms like few and many. This limitation affects their ability to perform tasks requiring precise counting, showing how languages shape numerical cognition. Time conceptualization. Wolff argued that Hopi does not conceptualize time as a linear sequence, past, present, or future. On the other hand, in English, we have got past, present, and future. Instead, it categorizes events as manifested, experienced, or non-manifested or non-experienced. This distinction reflects a different cultural approach to time. Then there are examples related to gendered language as well. So in Arabic language or French language, they are highly gendered. So they have got singular, double, and plural. In Urdu or English, we have got singular and plural. So their verb conjugation, they are also highly inflected. In English, we have got good boy and good girl. In Urdu, we have got acha ladka, achhi ladki. So here adjective is also gendered. So from acha, it turns into achhi. But at the same time, it does not mean that this language can restrict the thinking of the people. So linguistic determinism, people do not believe in. It is there, no doubt. In some of the aspects of language, it does determine our thought, but not all aspects of language or all of the world language determines. So there are certain critiques and limitations of this theory. Critics argue that humans share universal cognitive processes that transcend linguistic differences. For example, basic concepts like spatial awareness and numeracy may exist independently of language. Overgeneralization. Wolff's interpretation, especially about Hopi time, have been challenged for oversimplifying linguistic structures and cultures. Cognitive independence. Studies show that thought can exist independently of language. For instance, pre-linguistic infants and animals demonstrate cognitive abilities without formal language. So, in the end, I am going to summarize. Remember, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, it has got a strong version which is called linguistic determinism, and it has got a weaker version which is called linguistic relativity. So the ideas, the truths, the realities that we have got in Pakistan, they may not be the same in America. Here people do not like the concepts of gays and lesbians, but these are facts in America. So people do have lesbian or gays marriages, but in Pakistan people do not do such type of things. So this is linguistic relativity. So the concepts and ideas that they have, or the realities that they have, or the truths that they believe in, we may not have the same truths. So our likes and dislikes, they are different. So language is relative. So we believe in linguistic relativity. It has got various examples coming out of the researches that people have carried out. Thank you very much.